If I can have your attention here for a moment. Since you guys are so chatty, it must be because your activity matrix went so well. Is that what? Yeah. Okay. So what were some activities you guys came up with specific to your child? Courtney, what child do you guys have?
We have Lupe.
Lupe. And what activities did you come up with for Lupe?
Well, we were focused on feeding.
Okay.
So,
And self-soothing.
so we put self-soothing, self-feeding, interaction, and sign language.
Okay,
Because we
perfect.
thought maybe with the eating, she could learn some signs.
So that might be a fantastic way to include the learning opportunity of sign language into her daily routine. High fives, your table. Well done. Very well done. How about you guys? What were some activities you guys came up with?
Positive social interaction, self-help with personal needs, and using the feeling words I feel, I want, I need.
Awesome. So you're kind of embedding that opportunity to learn those appropriate feeling words. Awesome. Very good, very good. Does anybody have any others that they wanted to share? What child? You guys have Casey, right? We haven't heard a whole lot about Casey.
We have Casey. We basically looked for a couple different categories that might help him through his day. So on our top section, we did stuff that, well, we did like a regular routine for the day, and then on the top it says promoted social interaction. So we went through and figured out what times the teachers could promote those social interactions. When does he need individual time was our next category. When does he need adult assistance? Because he doesn't really speak at all, and we want to promote those social interactions, but also give him the individual time too. And then what are his trigger times? Like when does he throw tantrums?
Awesome. I think, and now what were the trigger times that you guys identified? I think that's a great piece to bring in.
Arrival, snack time, around food times was the biggest times, yeah.
What'd you say?
Food?
Food
around
times, meal times.
And then arrival.
And then arrival. Okay.
Well, it almost could be any time too, because he's an autism spectrum, so the teachers just give him lots of alone time. So we were thinking that every transition could be a trigger. It just brought up a lot.
Because it's so different from that alone time.
Yes.
He might need a lot of one-on-one time
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
until he finds a way to communicate and be around his peers.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. And I actually really liked what you guys brought up. Now I'm like looking for that cord to step over. It's in there. I actually really like the piece you brought up about talking about the different levels of assistance, adult assistance that a child might need. And that's actually something that we're going to talk about. Did you look ahead? Is that
No.
That's something that we're going to talk about here in the nice blue slides. So awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. So next we want to talk about, in that process of embedding those learning opportunities, we're going to talk about how to teach them. And this is looking at when the team decides on which support models and which materials that might be necessary to teach the child, as well as a possible reinforcement schedule. We talked about this a lot today, but especially with the reinforcement schedule, if everyone can be kind of on the same page so the child is receiving consistent reinforcement regardless of what environment he's in, that reinforcement is going to be that much more powerful. So like we were just talking about, I'm so sorry, what was her name again?
Ashley?
Ashley. We have a couple Ashleys in here, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
2 Ashleys. So like Ashley was just talking about, there are different levels of assistance that adults can offer to children. This is a really nice visual because now that you guys have these on a zip drive, you can see the different colors of it. The top part, you'll see the most adult-directed instructional procedures. It can look like implementing consequence strategies or prompting strategies, all the way down to least directed, influenced by adults, which can just look at the environment that your child is in. How supportive is it, as opposed to a parent or an adult directly prompting a child? So it's important to remember that there are a lot of ways that you can modify and adapt the environment that you're in, the curriculum that you're using to meet a child's needs. Such as how is the environment arranged? If you have a child that their challenging behavior is they just have a ton of energy. Well, is your environment arranged so much so that you have a lot of different small spaces for the child? Maybe he needs a little bit more room. And that's a low adult impacted strategy that you can use. Give them a little bit more space. The one that I really like from this slide is simplifying the activity. I think that's something that as adults, we're fairly complex. We can be given a set of instructions, like you guys do. I give you a set of instructions and off you go, you do the activity. If you can simplify the activity for kids and reduce the number of steps, it can really change a child's ability to be successful in whatever that activity may be. So is anybody familiar with the complete learning trial? Has anyone heard of that before today? I had never heard of it before Pyramid. But what the complete learning trial is, there are 3 pieces to it. It is a logically occurring or planned antecedent, followed by a behavior that leads to a logically occurring or planned consequence. So the big takeaway is here that to experience a complete learning child, to go through that progression with a child, there must be an antecedent, a behavior, and a consequence. So this next slide is just a few examples of that complete learning trial. It can be kind of feel like a lot to take in as a strategy, but here are some good examples. So maybe I'll read the bottom one and then we'll have somebody else read the top one. So the bottom one, the antecedent, is a mom looks at a baby with a smile and provides a gentle, soothing touch. Whereas the target behavior, the baby engages with the mom by looking her in the eyes, smiling back at her, possibly cooing at her. And the consequence, therefore, the mom reciprocates that by imitating the cooing sound while continuing to smile and hold the baby. And when I read this example, I think back on that video we watched in session, I'm not sure what session it was in, with the mom with her infant, and it was a social experiment, and she did it. Does everyone remember that video? It always makes me want to cry.
It's called the still-faced experiment.
Yes, the still-faced experiment. Do you remember what session that's in?
Wasn't it last time? I think it was
It's
about
2
the
times
environment.
2 times ago?
Was it 2 times ago? Okay.
So it makes me think about that. I mean, this is a perfect example to tie in with that. I mean, you saw the baby's face go from very happy and reciprocating that attention with mom to tears because there was no reaction from the mom. So it's just a really good visual example of this example that we're talking about. Does anyone want to read the first one?
Sitting in
Thank
circle
you.
time, teacher selects Tommy as the kid counter. Teacher says, let's count your friends. Target behavior is touches each friend with a gentle hand or wand and counts using the one-to-one correspondence. The consequence is praise and acknowledge, wow, you counted all your friends. Or incorrect, do it with me, touch and count each friend with the child.
I think it's important to remember that piece right there, that the consequence that you're looking for is that reinforcement, that praise and acknowledgement. Wow, Adriana, you counted all your friends. You counted everybody in our office. You did a great job. I think that praise, it really goes a long way with children, so I really like that example as well. Does anybody have any questions about those examples? Or can you think of an example that might happen in your classroom? No, that's okay. So next we're going to talk about different teaching strategies, and we're going to go into each one of them covered a little bit more in detail. So the first one that we're going to talk about is incidental teaching, which involves providing instruction within ongoing typical activities, things that might happen on a daily basis, based on the child's interest and motivation. You're going to get a lot more from a child, a lot more engagement if you're playing with the fire truck that little Johnny really likes, as opposed to the Barbie doll that Johnny really does not like to play with. It can allow children the opportunity to initiate interaction and respond spontaneously. There can also be some reinforcers built into this, which I know we've talked about as something that's very important. So these are some strategy examples of incidental teaching, and these are actually things that I find that if I'm in a classroom, that I find teachers do these without even knowing that these are incidental teaching strategies by definition, such as forgetfulness. Have any of you guys ever, you're trying to influence a teaching moment with a child by forgetting snack? Okay, it's snack time, everybody come on over, and you forget snack. Well, know, what you're looking for is little Johnny to say, Miss Lacey, you forgot the snack. Beth, I see you shaking your head. Have you done that one before? Yeah. And you found success with that?
Generally,
And of course, yes, it would never be successful every time. In
Yes.
a perfect world, it would, but. Things being visible but unreachable. I always think about the example of taking possibly that fire truck that Johnny really, really loves and putting it in a clear box so he can see it, but he can't get to it. The top is on and he cannot get to it. What we're looking for, you know, that incidental teaching, we are trying to teach Johnny to use the appropriate words. Miss Lacey, I can't get to the fire truck. Could you help me? That's what we're looking for. But you're planning ahead to plan for these opportunities. And we do have a video attached with the slide, so let me get that video up really quick. And I actually really like this video. This video looks at a child doing a puzzle, a shamrock puzzle, and she's very motivated by the puzzle. It's clearly something